We are at the halfway point of another exciting NFL season.
We're going to pass out some grades here, partner, because we're that halfway point.
The Chargers. I got to give them a C-.
As we approach the midway point, it's time to hand out a couple of report cards for all 32 teams. Arizona Cardinals D-. The Cardinals came into the 2023 season with meager expectations, and so far, it has been a very rough ride in the desert, despite one win against the Dallas Cowboys. Joshua Dobbs did whatever he could with the depleted roster as Kyler Murray recovered from his ACL surgery. Dobbs was recently traded from the Cardinals to the Minnesota Vikings to fill in for an injured Kirk Cousins, as Kyler Murray is expected to return in the coming weeks. Atlanta Falcons D+. The Falcons have proved themselves to be a very hit-or-miss team in the NFC South. They've either played well or just as easily played very badly. Case in point is Desmond Ridder, who has struggled to play well to the midpoint of the season. Luckily for the Falcons, the NFC South is still a very wide-open division. All it takes is for Atlanta to step up with Taylor Heineke or continue in this path to embarrassment by the like of the New Orleans Saints or Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baltimore Ravens A-. The Baltimore Ravens have been flying pretty high to this midpoint with only a slight loss of altitude early on. Losing J.K. Dobbins was a massive blow, but the team continued to move forward with amazing performances from Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Gus Edwards, and the strong and always mighty Ravens defense. If the Ravens continue to play this way, they can potentially be a dark horse Super Bowl contender. Buffalo Bills B-. The Bills have been a mixed bag thus far at midpoint. They can either turn in some great play and completely dominate their opponent, or they can be completely embarrassed in the first half of the game, attempt to come back from behind, and fall just short. Josh Allen continues to be a great leader of this franchise along with Stephon Diggs and the underrated Gabe Davis. Carolina Panthers F. It has been a disastrous start to the season for the Panthers, even with rookie quarterback Bryce Young giving everything he could to help the Panthers out, along with strong support from Adam Thielen, Hayden Hurst, and Justin Houston. This Panthers team has been held back by their horrendous defense all season long, and barely snuck in a win in their Week 8 performance against the Houston Texans. Can the Panthers get more wins in the second half of the season? Only time will tell. Chicago Bears F. It has been a complete disaster for the Chicago Bears. Even though they're able to get wins over the Washington Commanders and Las Vegas Raiders, they have been outplayed and simply humiliated in their games all season. DJ Moore is a good receiver who deserves a lot better than what he has to deal with in the Windy City. Justin Fields can be a good playmaker, but he needs better coaching and a better offensive line to protect him. Cincinnati Bengals B-. The Bengals started the season slow, but were able to wake it up and strike fear into their opponents as the season progressed. Joe Burrow continues to play great, which is reminiscent to 2021. He's getting great support from Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd. Trey Hendrickson leads the team with 8 sacks so far this season, and Logan Wilson had 3 interceptions so far on the year. Cleveland Browns D. The Browns have been a bit of a mess on offense. Deshaun Watson dealing with concussions and PJ Walker throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. Yes, they have a 4-3 record so far this season, but a lot of these wins came with the help of the defense, coached by defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz and led by Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, and Denzel Ward. Dallas Cowboys B. The Cowboys started the season with a bang with a 40-0 victory over the struggling Giants, even though the Cowboys dropped games to the Arizona Cardinals and San Francisco 49ers. The Cowboys offense is not looking too bad, and that defense led by Micah Parsons is doing pretty dang hot too. If the Cowboys continue to play the way they are, they could potentially win the NFC East. Denver Broncos D. Denver has been a mess on all sides of the ball to the midpoint this far. It also didn't help that the Broncos were dropped 70-20 in a humiliating fashion to the high-powered Miami Dolphins in Week 3. The Broncos have gotten good wins over the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers, and a Week 8 upset over the Kansas City Chiefs. Nevertheless, there is a lot the Broncos have to fix to become a relevant team to pull themselves up from the bottom feeder status in the AFC West. Detroit Lions A-. The Detroit Lions have been playing at a very elite level. This Lions team is having fun with Dan Campbell, changing the culture of this once losing franchise into a true winning machine with a lot more to conquer in the second half of the season. Green Bay Packers D+. The Packers had low expectations with Jordan Love succeeding Aaron Rodgers as the starting quarterback. Will Love improve? Well, he's going to have to. If the Packers continue to struggle, something is going to have to change to help the Packers return to the kings of the NFC North. Houston Texans C. There has been anticipation bubbling up this season for the Texans, and they have looked like a potential wildcard team led by CJ Stroud and head coach DeMeco Ryans. However, the Texans have dropped key games that they should have won, as well as suffering some sound beatdowns at the beginning of the season. At the end of the day, they are a young and rebuilding franchise looking like they found their new quarterback in Stroud. Indianapolis Colts C-. The Colts entered the season as a bit of a mystery, but have since looked like a potential wildcard team with rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson leading the way. Unfortunately, Richardson suffered a gruesome shoulder injury that required surgery, cutting the season to an end and giving the keys to the offense to Gardner Minshew. Jacksonville Jaguars B-. The Jaguars are no longer that AFC South team other teams pick on, as they have conquered their opponents on the road and across the pond so far this season. Trevor Lawrence is looking very good, while Christian Kirk is a reliable #1 receiver in Duval County. The Jaguars defense is held up and looks to keep playing well against tougher teams at home and on the road. Kansas City Chiefs A-. The Chiefs look to many as a team that can repeat as Super Bowl champions, all due to the performances of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the rise of Isaiah Pacheco. On defense, the Chiefs continue to be a force to be reckoned with. Las Vegas Raiders F+. It's been an absolute circus in Sin City for the Raiders. They fired head coach Josh McDaniels and general manager Dave Ziegler after the team's Week 8 loss on Monday Night Football. Devontae Adams already wants out of the Raiders franchise, as well as potentially losing Josh Jacobs. Las Vegas has a lot of work to do to improve under interim head coach Antonio Pierce, or just burn the house down and use next season to rebuild. Los Angeles Chargers C-. The Chargers are a team that can impress some of the time, but has fallen flat most of the time. Justin Herbert has played some decent ball, but Brandon Staley's coaching has been very questionable, to say the very least. Can the Chargers stay relevant in the AFC West, or will they drop more games? Los Angeles Rams C-. Similar to the LA Chargers, the Rams have played to impress in some of the matchups, but when it comes to losing games, the Rams have simply fallen flat, or they have just not been able to pull out enough wins. Sean McVay can coach good football, but he needs more young talent around him instead of just giving up draft capital for big names, if he wants the Rams to return to glory. Miami Dolphins A-. The Dolphins have been lights out incredible on offense, with Tua Tagovailoa going gangbusters with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle leading the way against opposing defenses. Tua is truly making a case for a potential MVP type of season. If he continues to play the way he has this season, he can potentially take the Dolphins very far into the playoffs. Minnesota Vikings C. It's been a hit or miss year for Minnesota, as the Vikings have lost very close games and have also won very close games. Kirk Cousins has played well, but suffered a torn Achilles injury during the Vikings' Week 8 victory over the rival Green Bay Packers. That was a devastating blow to a team that wants to return to the playoffs and is dealing with Justin Jefferson out for some time with a hamstring injury of his own. The Vikings did trade for Joshua Dobbs from Arizona before the trade deadline, so maybe he can help the Vikings stay afloat for a playoff berth, but only time will tell. New England Patriots F. The Patriots have been a mess for most of the season, and that is wild to say. Mac Jones' play has been inconsistent so far. And, well, it might potentially be time for New England to tear the house down and start over from scratch next season if they want to be relevant again. New Orleans Saints C+. Out of all of the NFC South teams, the Saints are possibly one of the best teams in the division, with Derek Carr getting somewhat of a fresh start in the Big Easy and having great playmakers around him like Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Rashid Shaheed helping him out. The Saints just need to win more games and not drop those close ones if they want to win the NFC South. New York Giants F. The Giants entered the 2023 season with high expectations that they were going to be a playoff team. Instead, it's just been an incredibly disappointing season so far for the G-Men. Daniel Jones has been inconsistent and was recently injured in a Week 5 matchup against the Miami Dolphins. The biggest problem for the Giants has been their offensive line, which is just one of the worst in all of football. If the Giants want to see better production from Daniel Jones, fix the offensive line ASAP. New York Jets C+. The New York Jets have entered the 2023 season with a lot of hype, having Aaron Rodgers come to town. But unfortunately, Rodgers tore his Achilles after 4 plays in Week 1. Zach Wilson has not been the best fill-in, but he has led Gang Green to victories this season, while the Jets' defense, led by CJ Mosley, has been the true leader of this young team. If the defense continues to play tough and physical, they can potentially make it to the playoffs. Philadelphia Eagles A. The Eagles have picked up what they started last season, which is to win and be dominant to everyone they have faced despite dropping a Week 6 game to the New York Jets. After that loss, the Eagles got back to business and dominated their opponents with the play of Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown on offense. Of course, the defense has been no slouch either. At this point, it is upwards and onwards for the Eagles. Pittsburgh Steelers C-. Despite having an elite defense led by T.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward, and Joey Porter Jr., the Steelers' offense has been very inconsistent with Matt Canada's coaching style. Kenny Pickett can be a leader in the Steel City along with Najee Harris, which has resulted in close wins. But they need to dump Canada and find a better coordinator who will turn that offense around and make them into a true winner for the next season. The San Francisco 49ers B-. The 49ers have been playing lights-out football on all fronts during the first half of the 2023 season. Then, the injuries and inconsistent play from Brock Purdy took its toll, resulting in the 49ers dropping 3 notable games to the Cleveland Browns, Minnesota Vikings, and Cincinnati Bengals, respectively. The 49ers did trade for Chase Young, who had wanted out of Washington for some time and should hopefully rebound in the second half of the season. Seattle Seahawks C+. The Seahawks have been somewhat decent on offense thanks to Geno Smith's play, along with Tyler Lockett, while that defense is led by Quandre Diggs, Tariq Woolen, and veteran Bobby Wagner. If they continue to play an elite-level game, they can potentially take the NFC West, especially if the 49ers continue to implode. Tampa Bay Buccaneers C-. The Buccaneers have talented playmakers on all sides of the ball. However, Baker Mayfield's play has been holding them back at times. He's been pretty good at filling the void for a recently retired Tom Brady, but good sometimes is not good enough for the long-term solution that they need at quarterback. Tennessee Titans D+. The Titans offense has been mediocre with sloppy playing from Ryan Tannehill. He did suffer an ankle injury during the team's Week 6 loss in London to the Baltimore Ravens. We did get to see Will Levis light it up during the team's Week 8 victory over the Atlanta Falcons. Now the real question is, can Levis save the Titans and bring them back to prominence in the second half of the season? Well, stay tuned and find out. Washington Commanders D+. The Commanders have been a bit of an inconsistent team in the first half of the season. Sam Howell has played well at times and questionably at other times, which has resulted in some pretty tough losses for Washington. But honestly, the rest of the team really needs to step up. Head coach Ron Rivera is on the hot seat and could be out of DC by next season. We'll just wait and see if the Commanders can turn things around before it's too late. But how do you think each team is doing so far this season? Do you agree with the grades that we've given out? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. But hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.